Alright, this is the review of the ICS Sig 552. This is a great gun straight out of the box, but we don't expect anything less than superior performance from ICS right out of the box. Now, those of you who follow my reviews and the review project, you'll know this is the third Sig 552 I am donating to the Airsoft community. Yes, I've donated my Tokyo Marui Sig 552, which is now in California with Merck's Airsoft. I donated a JG Sig 552, which was just up at AST Kilo 23s, getting tested out on the field. And now I'm sending an ICS Sig 552 into the review project. So before we get this going, ask yourself, what other YouTube Airsoft personality is donating guns to the Airsoft community? Nobody. Crazy NC Man and Mil Spec Airsoft, we are. We're setting the standards for YouTube Airsoft. And this is another one right here, ICS Sig 552. And I look great in my new revision sunglasses too, don't I? So let's take this inside. We've got a few things to talk about, so we're going to do a tabletop review of this gun. So let's take it inside and take a closer look at it. Alright, so here we are back inside with the old ICS Sig 552 Commando. This is indeed made by ICS, but it's licensed by Cybergun, so it has the authentic, or close to authentic trades on it. It's a great looking gun. As you can see, it comes with the PEC box for the battery, and that's one of the popular misconceptions about this gun. And we'll go over those in a minute. But basically, to go over it real quick, it's like any Sig. It's got a side fold stock. You must have the PEC box all the way forward in order to fold the stock up and lock it down. It's got a steel upper receiver and a cast aluminum lower, which we can show right here. We put the old magnet on. But the bottom lower receiver is cast aluminum and not steel. And they probably did that just for ease of manufacturing. But the upper is indeed steel. It does not come with the rail, but there is space for it if you want to get the SIG style rail. The handguard's polymer, the plastic stock, magazine holds 470 rounds. It's a see-through high cap, and I'm not sure why they put such a big long high cap on this gun. It's a little goofy. If I was going to run this gun as my primary, I'd run the 220 round high cap or even just a mid cap. But that big long magazine is a little funny looking, but it's pretty cool. The flash hider on it, unfortunately, is plastic. And then, of course, the front end is all metal, the outer barrel. The inner barrel is made of an anodized aluminum, so it's very wear resistant with that anodized coating on it. The rails, like the Tokyo Marui Sig and the JG Sig, they are plastic. You got your sling points on the front right here. You got one on the back sight, and you also have one on the stock. And then, like all the Sigs, you have the basket style sight. It's got about 4 different apertures, and then the front, you can fold this down to get pinpoint accuracy or flip it up just to wail on people. So I prefer the open sight right here. It's a lot easier to get to. And then it does have a working bolt catch, which is kind of cool, but they're a little finicky. And I wouldn't do that a lot because the front end of this bolt catch is plastic, so I wouldn't be wailing on the bolt catch too much, but it is nice to, you know, when you're adjusting your hop up to have that pulled open. But like I said, the front of it's plastic, and also the piece that it hits against is plastic, so I wouldn't be all doing that like over and over and over, because sooner or later something's going to crack. But it does have a functioning bolt catch. Alright, now a few of the popular misconceptions about this gun. The biggest one is that it has a split gearbox, which it does not. It has a version 3 gearbox in it. And of course, it's got steel gears and polycarb piston. It's got a ported piston head. All that stuff you'd expect in these higher end guns. It's powered up by the ICS Turbo 3000 motor, which is a fantastic motor, but it does not have a split gearbox. And that's one of the most popular misconceptions about the ICS SIGs. The other one is, a lot of people have questions on batteries on this gun because it really doesn't say. You get the PEC box, which we'll get into it a little bit later, but like the JG Sig and the Tokyo Marui Sig, an 8.4 volt mini battery will not fit in this handguard. It just will not fit. And I've tried everything. I tried an 8.4 volt nunchuck and put one piece in the bottom handguard and one in the top, and it's not happening. It just doesn't fit. It does have a mini Tamiya connector. They've also made it so it comes apart very easily. You can just unplug the wires when you have to do the little wire dance, which I'll show you. But it will not fit an 8.4 volt mini. So if you do not want to run the ICS PEC box, I'd run a 7.4 volt LiPo up in here. Or, you know, those of you who like to run the 11.1s and beat up your gearbox, run that. But if you want to run it in the handguard, run the 7.4 volt LiPo. It's got a mini Tamiya connector, and that's all that's going to fit in there. Now the PEC box, yes, it does look cool. I mean, I'll give it that. It's very cool looking, but it's a little on the plasticky side. The thing too, when you get this gun, there's a couple things I don't like, and I've seen a lot of these because I sell a lot of these. And the first thing you're going to notice is the fire selector is very, very stiff. Matter of fact, when you take these out of the box, out of 90% of them I check, that thing barely moves. But the more you use it, the more it gets clicking in place. And then if you're an experienced airsoft tech, go ahead and take it apart and lube it up. It's, you know, it's a typical Sig style selector switch. Got a couple gears on both sides that run this thing up and down, but when you get it, it's very, very stiff. But like I said, don't be alarmed. It'll work itself out as you use the gun. The other thing with these guns, and I've noticed this again in about 90% of these I've sold, when you pull the charging handle back, the bolt release a lot of times doesn't work. And in this one, it doesn't work very good. If you watch AST Kilo 23's video on the 551, his works real good. But you cannot... I can't push it down and get the bolt to release. I don't know why. I've taken them apart and I can't figure out why some of them work and some of them don't. But if you hold it with both fingers, it'll pull right down. It's almost like you got to square it up a little bit. And I've seen that, like I said, I've sold a ton of these, and every one I've seen, it's pretty much like that. Do it with both fingers, it works fine. To do it with just your thumb, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And if you take it apart and look at it, the little catch is so short, you think, well, hell, if you just breathe on it, it's going to release. That's not the case. It's got a hold on it. But like I said, this one here, the only way to get it to release is to use two fingers and kind of square it up and pull it down. So that's one disadvantage to the gun. But again, I wouldn't let that steer me from buying this. And then, of course, the trigger guard is fairly loose, so you kind of keep knocking it from side to side. All right, now for the battery and PEC box. This was another odd feature of this gun. Like I said, the PEC box looks cool. It's a little plasticky, and it just has these end caps that you twist that holds it all together. And this is the official battery that fits this gun. It's the ICS 9.6 volt, 1600 milliamp hour, and their part number is MC135. And I forgot to look it up before I started this video. I don't know what these cells are called. You know, an 8.4 volt mini is what's called a 2-3 cell. And I forgot to look it up, but these are basically the size, probably a little smaller than a AA battery. And that's why they fit in this. A regular 9.6 volt nunchuck will not fit. But basically one stands up, one lays down, and then you have the little hole in the bottom to run the connectors out. So that's all fine and dandy. You got your battery. Like I said, once you get it all in there, these caps are pretty tight. But I think if I was running this PEC box in a game, I'd put a little tape or something over them just to make sure they do stay on, just in case they wiggle loose. But anyways, that's kind of cool. But the other problem is, when you have the PEC box mounted, there's nowhere to run the connectors through the hole. They show you to disassemble the wiring harness, because like I said, they were nice enough to put these quick disconnects on it, but they have this fuse block that you can't get that through a hole, so you'd have to take the whole thing apart. And once you get your PEC box on here, the way the handguard and the PEC box is shaped, there's no way to get the wires in these holes. It's kind of a pain in the butt, because then they'd be squished against it and the thing wouldn't be fitting right. So what you can see was I did right here, I just drilled a hole in the damn handguard. I wasn't going to mess with it. I actually got, if you do this, you should probably do it with a Dremel tool. I got a little carried away, and you can see where the drill actually grabbed it and broke a piece of the plastic out. But I just took a 7/16 drill and drilled a hole in there just to make it easier to get the battery connected. It's still a little, wonky because you got to take the handguard off. But basically, once you got the the battery in the PEC box and the wire out the bottom, I just put it through there and then attach it to that and then put the handguard on, and it works just fine. Now, if you decide not to run this PEC box, but run a different, an aftermarket, I'd still drill a hole in there, because when you mount it, you gotta have an easy place to get your wires in. These are too small to fit a Tamiya connector through. That's why I went with the 7/16 drill. It makes a hole that's just perfect for fitting these wires through. So even if you run a different brand PEC box, I'd go ahead and just blast a hole in the handguard anyways. It's pretty tough. When you do it, I took the end of a file, a wooden file handle, and I put it in here so the thing wouldn't crack when I'm putting pressure on it. And then I just put it on a towel on the drill press so it doesn't get all marked up, and just drill the hole in it. But like I said, do it real carefully, or if you have a Dremel tool, I Dremel it out. Now, the other great thing about SIGs is the way they break down. Once you take the front pin out to get the handguard off, all you do is push this button on top, and then the top will come right off, and then you release your upper and the barrel, and there's your gearbox right there. Like I said, it's a version 3 ICS Turbo 3000 motor. I'm not going to take it out because this gun is headed right out the door Monday morning to get into the review project. But like I said, you can take it apart real easy, get your barrel out to clean it. Obviously this is an anodized aluminum, so if they anodize the inside, which you can see they have, it's definitely going to be a lot more wear resistant than just straight up aluminum or brass. So it's got a nice barrel setup. The hop up is very nice. These type of hop ups will stay put once you get them set. It has great accuracy, it adjusts, it's very nice to fine tune it. And then inside, we're not going to get into all this because all that's left is the cover and the spring setup for the ejection port here. But that's it. It's a very simple setup. It's a very strong. There's no barrel wobble at all in these. Like I said, the upper receiver is indeed steel. ICS Sig 552 for $230 on milspec-airsoft.com. It's a deal. I'm out of these batteries right now, but I'm going to order some more. Like I said, the part number, ICS part number is MC-135. It is a 9.6 volt, 1600 milliamp hour battery.